I went to the blind date in Jade's place, opened my mouth, and claimed I'd already cycled through 27 ex-boyfriends, seasoned the story with plenty of R-rated spice. Needless to say, the date crashed and burned. And while I was still basking in the triumph of my sabotage, I discovered that my new boss looked exactly like the man I'd just scarred for life. Oh my god, I'd accidentally set the building on fire. Before we go on, subscribe to this channel and drop a comment telling us where you're listening from. 1. Today I'm here to impersonate Jade on her blind date. Before I left, I pictured some middle-aged bald guy. Turns out the man is a suit anti-apex predator. As a card-carrying face junkie, I'm instantly hooked on his looks. But I've got a mission: scare the date away and rescue Jade from forced marriage. I sit down across from him and open with a sunny greeting. Mr. Vale, hello. I'm your blind date candidate. The man smiles slightly. Hello, Adrian. After the niceties, Adrian begins to brew tea. I prop my chin on one hand, stare without blinking, and say in a lazy drawl, Mr. Vale, you are ridiculously hot. Realizing that still isn't terrifying enough, I add, way hotter than any of the 27 guys I've dated before. Adrian's pouring hand jerks. He lifts his eyes, startled. You've had quite the romantic resume. I just smile, watching the filled cup slide toward me. Then I promptly press one finger to the back of his hand. Your hands are gorgeous too. Later I'll take you to a tattoo parlor and get you inked. Adrian yanks his hand back. No need, Taylor. He lifts the teacup and drinks in strategic silence. I decide to wrap this up fast. I still need to meet Jade afterward. The moment his cup hits the table, I go straight for the kill. So, what do you think? Shall we grab a marriage license? That urgent? Adrian blinks. Don't we need to get acquainted? What's to know? Time is money. I straighten up and slowly rub my palms together. My lucky number is 28, today is the 28th, and if you say yes you'd be boyfriend number 28, so, Rowan, opportunity knocks only once. Adrian stares blankly for a good 4 or 5 seconds. This feels abrupt. Where's the rush? A kid lost is a kid replaced. If it doesn't work out we just divorce. I wiggle my brows at him. Adrian can't find a comeback and retreats behind his teacup again. When the tea is finally gone, he says, sorry, we're not compatible. Compatible? Yeah, in another universe. Date officially dead. Mission accomplished. I'm only here because Jade had to run an errand for me that clashed with the date. Jade said, sis, I scratch your back, you scratch mine, right? So I went. On the phone afterward, when she heard my savage play-by-play, she shrieked, who knew you had this side, Sky? I shrugged it off. Relax, it's not like we'll ever meet again. That very night the universe slapped my face. I was wearing a sheet mask, tweaking a building plan at my laptop, when Maja from admin posted in the workgroup chat. The boss's son takes over tomorrow. Don't even think about strolling in late this week. I'm in architectural design and on flex time, but with a new sheriff in town I'm not about to be the first scalp on his belt. I grabbed my phone and set 6 backup wake-up alarms, then dove back into the chat. Everyone was pestering Maja for gossip. Who is he? Is he cute? Spill. I hovered, equally curious. Messages scrolled like machine gun fire until Maja finally answered. The new boss is Adrian, some international starchitect who wins awards the way other people collect coffee stamps. A color headshot followed the text. My heart started doing jumping jacks. That name, that face, exactly the guy I'd just traumatized. 2. Next morning I woke before any of my alarms. No mystery, I needed to be at Vale early to minimize collision odds. Murphy's Law struck immediately. I badge swiped, reached the elevator lobby, and there he stood, tall and immaculate. No way. He's even earlier than me. For 10 full seconds my brain staged a civil war. Confess I'd swapped places with Jade or play dead? While I dithered, Adrian turned his head. Instant ignition, my spine caught fire and sweat stacked on sweat. I forced myself over and chirped, Jordan, like nothing happened. Adrian dipped his chin a millimeter. Just then the executive elevator arrived, staff privilege, way above my pay grade. I watched him step in, relieved that fate had thrown me a lifeline. Then his voice floated out, coming or not. Me? I swallowed, walked in, and hugged the wall. Which floor? He asked. I squeaked, 28. He pressed 28 and added, you really have a thing for that number. My ears and cheeks combusted, every raunchy line I'd spouted yesterday replayed in IMAX. Never in my life had I felt so mortifyingly exposed. Certain HR would pop out with a cardboard box for my stuff. All day I jumped at shadows, refreshing my inbox, expecting the termination email. None came. At knockoff time my supervisor slapped me with a business trip assignment instead, flagship project, 1 week out of town. Translation, my job, and paycheck, live to see another day. I saved files and cleared my desk. On my way out my ex-landlady called. Avery, what kind of circus are you running? That man's pounding on my door again. Her tone was pure acid. You know how disturbing this is? Fix it or kiss your 3-month security deposit goodbye. The man she meant was my psycho ex. A cheating scumbag. I'd broken the lease early just to escape him. With only 10 days left till refund day, no way I'll let that jerk cost me a small fortune. I apologized nonstop. I'm so sorry, I'll handle it right now. I hailed a cab and rocketed to my old building. The elevator doors parted, and there he was, leaning against the wall, scrolling his phone like he owned the corridor. Fury detonated. Leo, which screw fell out of your head this time? He pocketed the phone, unhurried, and closed in. With each step came a demand. Why won't you answer my calls? Why did you block my number? Why move without telling me? Oh, the audacity. I reminded him, memory lapse? We broke up a month ago. He stopped inches away and reached for my cheek. Ever since I learned he cheated, every cell of him feels contaminated. I jerked back. He gave me the wounded puppy gaze. Why so disgusted? I made a mistake, I admit it, but can't you understand my situation? That woman is my company shareholder's daughter, I needed her vote, but the one I love is you. Wait 3 years for me, once I'm secure, I'll marry you. 3 sentences, each more vomit-inducing than the last. My hands shook. Get the hell out of my sight, now. 3. In the end I was the one who ran. Leo kept spewing garbage, how tough life is for him, how he's sacrificing for our future, painting himself the spotless martyr and me the tantrum-throwing villain. I couldn't stomach another syllable. I left, texting the landlady that if she ever saw him again she should call the cops. I rode the elevator down, pushed through the front doors, and the night wind slapped my tear-stung eyes. It wasn't Leo himself I mourned, it was the sick feeling that I'd fed my youth to a stray dog. I picked up speed so no one would witness the meltdown, but once the tears started they staged a flash flood. Luckily dinner hour meant the courtyard was nearly empty. I swiped at my face, rounded a corner, and walked straight into a silhouette. A few paces away a man in a tailored suit stood before a wrought iron gate. Our eyes locked, the tears shut off like a faucet. I turned aside, scrubbing my cheeks with the heel of my hand. Footsteps approached. A tall frame stopped beside me, the faint trace of expensive cologne drifting over. Adrian asked, "What happened?" I yanked out the single earbud I'd kept in and lied through my teeth. I was listening to a romance audiobook, so tragic it made me cry buckets. He angled toward a sleek car idling at the curb. "You won't find a cab here, I'll give you a ride." Truth was, I feared Leo might ambush me at the gate, so I didn't argue. Alex. We settled in the back seat, a driver pulled us into traffic. Adrian's phone rang nonstop, every call about work. After giving the driver the address, I pulled out my phone to kill a few minutes with a game, but a sideways glance made me rethink. The CEO was right there grinding through a call. Even if I had nothing to do, I had to at least look busy. Riley, I told myself, and pulled out my tablet to open the digital plans from today's meeting. Red annotations topped every sheet, my own tweaks. I flicked from one drawing to the next, chasing fixes, and sank so deep I didn't notice Adrian hang up. While I was mentally redlining partitions, a well-manicured fingertip tapped the lower left corner of my screen. "Why is there a frog on your drawing?" Adrian asked. I followed the finger. In the margin stood a Superman-suited frog, right hand flashing a V sign. That afternoon the brass had droned on with motivational fluff, and I'd doodled to stay sane. One thing led to another: frog, cape, briefs over tights, Superman frog. I definitely hadn't expected Adrian to spot it. If the boss realized I'd been sketching during his meeting, it would scream I found my paycheck too heavy to hold. Denial was the only option. I pointed at the doodle with fake authority. "It's for the hotel project. The client wants a frog statue in the lotus pond and asked if we could anthropomorphize it." I combined the concepts and roughed a version. I mentally hit like on my own brilliance. The next day I arrived on site for that same hotel job and saw Adrian. I wanted to die. Hadn't they said I was coming alone? Why was Adrian here too? R.I.P. me. Still, thanks to Adrian, the client parked me in a private cottage for the trip. He stayed elsewhere, so I had the place to myself, until Leo the psycho started blowing up my phone. I ignored him and blocked his number, but he kept conjuring new ones. Each time I blocked a digit, a fresh call slipped through. When I stopped answering, he spammed texts. "Sky, we grew up together, can't we talk? So many years and you cut me off just like that?" Cold. "Where did you move?" I silenced the thread and pretended none of it existed. At 1 p.m. Adrian pinged me on chat. "Ellis, I need to go over something, mind swinging by?" His villa sat next door. I strolled over. A man waved from Adrian's yard. It was the CEO's assistant. Office gossip said he was Adrian's cousin and bona fide royalty. "Hi, Liam," I greeted. A cloud-white Samoyed stood beside him. "Your dog is adorable." Liam opened the iron gate. "Which cottage are you in?" "Far?" I lifted a hand to point next door, but before a syllable left my mouth the cloud shot through the gap and body slammed me. My ankle buckled, down I went, dog and all, tailbone first. The impact rattled my spine and I almost cursed the pup. Liam lunged for the leash, but the Samoyed dodged every grab like they shared a telepathy channel. After several misses the dog dove into victory laps, barking jubilantly. I sat stranded, spine throbbing, while fur filled the air and a tail whipped my cheeks. A sharp order cut through the chaos: "Come here." I looked up. Adrian. At the sound of his voice the hellion morphed into an angel, trotted over, and rubbed its head against his trouser leg. Liam hauled me upright. "Sorry, Ellis. Wenru's just super curious. She scared you, huh?" I stood wobbly, smiling like plastic, thinking, Wenru? Where's the gentle in that? Under my stare Adrian dragged the dog inside by the scruff. Liam explained, "She's a people maniac, but once the frenzy's over she'll freeze you out." "Why name her Wenru?" I asked. "She redecorates daily. The CEO's main expense is replacement furniture, so his only wish is be gentle, don't eat the sofa." Has the wish come true? Liam exhaled a sigh that said everything and nothing. I followed him in. Adrian's cottage was a carbon copy of mine, same floors, same throws, clearly a bulk order by the client. We worked in the living room until dusk. My stomach eventually declared bankruptcy. Adrian had the resort chef prep dinner ahead of time, the spread waited in the dining room. After saving the file I stretched my arms. From upstairs Liam thundered, "Wenru, freeze!" A bark, a drumroll of paws, white lightning shot down the stairs, banked hard, and beelined for me. Panic flooded my veins. "Don't you dare, calcium-deficient millennials can't take hits." Adrian yanked me aside just as the dog face planted into the sofa. Wenru wobbled, gathered her dignity, and crawled to Adrian's shoe, chin flat to the floor. A whimper rose, she was crying. I gaped. Adrian slid his foot free. "Still crying?" With aim that bad you'd lose every fight. Wenru sprang, stomped all fours, and barked a rebuttal. You've crashed how many times? Even dumb dogs learn, Adrian shot back. More barks, a paw slapping his pants. I stood awkwardly rubbing my fingers. CEO arguing with his dog, was this free entertainment? Playing peacemaker, I crouched, tucked the dog under my arm, and tried, "Boss, dogs mean no harm, she's just playing." "Don't scold her." Adrian glared at Wenru like a disappointed dad, then told Liam, "Take her outside for wall-facing time." Wall-facing? My jaw dropped as Liam clipped on the leash and led the sulking cloud to the yard. I stared after them until Adrian said, "Let's eat." I trailed him to the dining room, 5 dishes, 1 soup, huge round table. Adrian sat, I stepped wide to leave space for Liam. Adrian stopped me. "No need, just us. Only us." "Where's Liam?" Adrian ladled soup. "He's got a dinner meeting, won't join." "Wait, can I still bail?" 6. Too late. Most agonizing meal ever. Gourmet food, zero appetite. Adrian sat ruler straight, lifting and chewing with sculptural grace. I fidgeted, desperate for small talk. The second I swallowed, I launched random topics, barely keeping the air from freezing. The instant the bowl was empty, I bolted. "Boss, I'll head back." He grunted, "Don't be late for tomorrow's meeting." Free at last. Outside, Wenru was tethered to a porch post, pouncing at moths, cute when she wasn't homicidal. I strolled to the gate, tapped the keypad, stepped through, and almost collided with Leo. I flinched, spun, and slammed the gate shut between us. Leo strode up until we stood a grill apart. "How are you here?" I blurted. "You won't answer, so I tracked you." He raised his phone, find my overlay glowing on the screen. I'd forgotten he still had my login. "What do you want?" I groaned. Leo wrapped his fingers around one of the iron bars of the gate and tightened them inch by inch. "Do I climb in and drag you out, or are you going to come out like a good girl?" Stuck with a psycho like this, I was honestly furious. "I'm calling the cops right now." I pulled out my phone. Without a second's hesitation, Leo stepped onto the gate's grill and started hauling himself over. I yelped and stumbled back, fumbling to unlock the screen. At the same moment, I heard footsteps. I spun around. Adrian was walking toward us, slow, unhurried strides, but the force field around him was massive. The instant Adrian appeared, Leo froze mid-climb. He dropped back to the ground, eyes flicking between Adrian and me, and snarled, "What exactly is your relationship with him?" "I don't owe you an explanation." Before I could finish, a warm palm settled on my shoulder. Adrian's hand. He curved his arm around me, pressure gentle but firm, steering me around until we were both facing the house. Then, step by step, he walked me back inside. That silent gesture gave Leo his answer and got me off the hook. Once we were indoors, Adrian let his hand drop. I scooted tactfully to the side. "Alex," Adrian asked, "which number boyfriend was that guy back there?" I gave a dry laugh, mortified. Actually, the night of the blind date, I was just talking nonsense. I had no clue whether he believed me. A little later he had a meeting and went upstairs. Afraid Leo might still be lurking, I decided to camp out in Adrian's house for an hour or so. I sat on the sofa, mindlessly scrolling. Full stomach, long day, my eyelids sagged. The next thing I knew, a mosquito humming in my ear dragged me awake. I blinked, groped for my phone, past 1 a.m. My heart lurched. I hadn't removed my makeup, hadn't showered, and I had an early meeting tomorrow. I jumped up and hurried upstairs. At my door I pushed, light spilled out. I froze. When had I left the lights on? Footsteps approached. A second later Adrian appeared in a black bathrobe. My gaze slid to the black suitcase that definitely wasn't mine, then back to his outfit. Reality hit. This was Adrian's room. 7. I'm screwed. I'm numb. The two suites are decorated identically. Half asleep, I'd waltzed into the wrong one. How do I fix this? I looked at him, trembling. He narrowed his eyes and clutched the lapels of his robe. I swear, boss, wrong room. I blurted. A firm shove sent me stumbling backward. Bang. The door slammed in my face, followed by the click of the deadbolt. I pressed a hand to my forehead. I wanted to cry. How am I supposed to survive the rest of this business trip? The reckoning arrived on schedule. The next morning I had to face the client meeting and Adrian. With 15 minutes to spare, I stared straight ahead, avoiding his gaze. Luckily Liam was there, parked between us like a human shield. He spotted my digital plans and borrowed a copy. 2 seconds later he lit up like a kid at Christmas. Dude, check it out, super doodle frog, and look at his little briefs. Adrian snapped the folder shut. Can you act normal for once? Then, quieter, each one nuttier than the last. Was that aimed at me? Ugh. Labeled abnormal, I was one sob away from tears. No way was I keeping that tag. After the meeting I stood and called, boss. Adrian and Liam turned in unison. Sensitive topics require a Liam-free zone. I need to confirm a design detail, kind of urgent. Adrian studied me, then told Liam, go grab me a coffee. The second Liam disappeared, I apologized and whipped out my phone, flipping to side-by-side shots of the two identical suites. Only then did Adrian's scowl soften. Exonerated. Good news demands hot pot. I left the client's building, planted myself by the entrance, and scrolled for nearby hot pot places. Alice. I looked up, Liam, 2 coffees in hand. Boss already left, I said automatically. I know. He stopped beside me, eyes fixed on something down the block. I followed his gaze. Across the street, Adrian stood face to face with a gorgeous woman. Curiosity poked me. Who's the chick? Future CEO? Don't even joke, Liam groaned. If that woman becomes our boss lady, the office will be a war zone. The tone, pure drama, promised a story. I nudged him with an elbow. Spill. Liam's mouth had no filter, the tale poured out in one breath. Short version, the beauty is head over heels psycho for Adrian. He's rejected her, clearly, repeatedly, yet she escalates, rented a Times Square-sized screen in downtown Milan for a 24-hour Casey love declaration. Adrian's head still aches. This month, Sam's domestic expansion finally brought peace, until she tracked him to Riverdale. 5 minutes ago, she warned Adrian, if he refused to see her today, she'd hire a truck to cruise the streets blasting Find Adrian recordings. Wild girl. Poor boss. For some reason, I flashed back to last night, Adrian stepping in to rescue me. My conscience wiggled. Can't leave a debt unpaid. Riley, I stage whispered to Liam, let's go, time to save the boss. 8. Liam blinked. Save him how? Go big or go home. Minutes later I sat in the back seat as Liam rolled up to the curb where the showdown raged. I lowered the window in time to hear her, why not? How do you know we won't work if you won't even try? We're perfect together. I love you, and I'm going to marry you. Brave. Sorry, girl. I cleared my throat and called out, honey, how much longer? Your daughter misses you. One word, honey, and Adrian's free. It also earned me a boss-sponsored hot pot lunch. My choice, my victory lap. While Liam paid the bill, Adrian asked, what are you doing this afternoon? In front of the boss, nothing morphs into work. Revising the scheme, the one we just presented? I nodded. That can wait. If you're free, come with me. Never imagined his destination was a stray cat TNR volunteer shift. Before we left the cove, we both changed into matching black sweats, first time I'd seen Adrian out of a suit. The casual look made him almost approachable. At the meeting point, volunteers were already fanning out. Simple mission, canvass the zone, round up unneutered ferals, hand them over to the vet team. Adrian and I paired up. Map in hand, we quickly located a scruffy tom scheduled for the ol' snip. Later, I ducked into an alley and spotted a palm-sized calico kitten wedged beside a trash pile. No mom in sight, the baby trembled, mewing with hunger. We begged some kibble from staff. Once fed, the furball glued itself to our ankles, refusing to leave. Adrian suggested, "Why don't you take her?" I loved the tiny gremlin, but reality sucks. My landlady has a no pets rule. Adrian folded a towel, scooped the kitten, and cradled it like a newborn. Head bent, voice soft, he murmured, "If you can't live with the pretty lady, I guess you're stuck with me." He never looked at me, yet the affection in those words jabbed straight through my ribs. Weird flutter. The guy suddenly felt rock-solid reliable. 9. Adrian had parked blocks away. Volunteer shift over, we hiked back to the car. Staff lent us a pet carrier. Adrian carried it while the kitten's round eyes swiveled like little radars. Working side by side gave us actual conversation, no more awkward late-night babbling. He told me his house was basically a private zoo, cats, dogs, plus winged, finned, and scaled residents. When he was a kid, his dream was to become a vet who could heal kittens. I asked him, "So why'd you quit medicine for civil engineering?" Adrian gave a helpless shrug. "Because I couldn't make the snip. I couldn't hold it in," burst out laughing. Once we were in the car, Adrian settled the kitten on the back seat. Then he drove straight to the animal hospital for a full checkup. We arrived at the clinic. A tech took the kitten for tests, and Adrian and I sat in the waiting area. The lounge was plastered with QR codes for pet care trivia. We both pulled out our phones and scanned one. Up popped a glossy, audio-narrated page. Adrian didn't have earbuds. I fished out my Bluetooth pair, popped one bud in my ear, and handed him the other. With the shared soundtrack in place, we minded our own screens. Then Jade pinged me on WhatsApp. She ranted that her parents had lined up another blind date, blah blah blah, and capped it with a voice note. Without thinking, I tapped play. Straight into my ear came Jade's voice, "I'm dying here. When you're back from your business trip, we're hitting the yacht party, eye candy, long legs, washboard abs. Tell me that's not heaven." At the same instant, a white earbud reappeared in front of me, the one I'd given Adrian. Only then did it hit me, the sound had come from my phone, so he'd heard every word. Girlfriends gushing about hot guys? Totally normal, but Adrian catching the soundtrack? I wanted to melt through the floor. While I was mentally face-planting, Adrian called, "Sky." He'd coined the nickname in the alley earlier. Said he didn't want to call me Alice outside the office. My full name's Sky, so he kept the Sky part. Adrian asked, "I'm grabbing drinks, what you want?" All I really wanted was a shot of amnesia. After he left, I buried my face in my hands. How? Making a fool of myself in front of the same guy, again and again. 10. I was slated to spend a week on site. That day, rain poured non-stop. I skipped the project trailer and holed up in the cove. But by lunch I hit a crisis. Every delivery app within range showed closed, no couriers. Customer service said the streets were flooded. Reading that line, I clutched my growling stomach and wanted to cry. The mansion was gorgeous, and completely food-free. In desperation I hunted up Adrian's contact in the work group and hit add. Once he approved, I messaged, "Boss, no delivery today, any food on your side?" Adrian, tables set in 5. "Come over." The words glowed like gold. I grabbed an umbrella, slid into flip-flops, and rang his bell. Inside, I almost drooled. Adrian and Liam were huddled over a hot pot loaded with everything. Starving, I dove right in. Mid-boil, Adrian asked, "Thought of a name yet?" Yesterday when we parted, he tasked me with naming the kitten. I said, "How about Gentle?" "Goes with your dog's name, Tender." Liam, swirling tripe, looked at Adrian and teased, "Great, now your whole place is a sea of softness. Pity you're still a lone old man, all you need is a wife." Adrian skewered him with a death glare. Liam swiveled toward me, "Fast, Ellis, this tripe is incredible." When I was stuffed, the storm had doubled. My phone chimed with an orange flood alert, "Stay indoors." I peeked outside, sideways rain, my umbrella didn't stand a chance. Still, I gambled, who knew how long this would last. I popped the umbrella open and turned. "Boss, I'm heading back." Adrian strode over, caught my arm, and tugged me inside. "In this downpour? Don't be crazy. Sit. Leave when it lets up." So I stayed. 3 of us camped in the living room watching food shows. Soon Liam vanished upstairs, leaving Adrian and me on separate couches, drooling over a marshmallow cube segment. Without thinking I sighed, "That looks amazing." Then I remembered the CEO beside me. Adrian asked, "You've got a sweet tooth?" Total sugar addict, especially for marshmallow cubes. I pointed at the Technicolor squares on screen. "If only it weren't raining." Adrian, legendary combo, rainy day plus desserts? I groaned, perfect match, but no courier will come. True, the weather's awful, but your luck's still good. How? Good because your boss knows the recipe, and the Cove has the ingredients. I practically bounced. Seriously? He smiled and nodded. Yes. Boss, you're the best. I rubbed my hands. Put me to work. 11. Adrian rolled up his sleeves and hit the kitchen. I gawked. You don't even need a tutorial? He tore open a butter wrapper. It's all up here. Those 6 words were pure swagger. Even hotter, the finished cubes. While he sliced, I pinched one and popped it in. 1 bite, best marshmallow cube of my life. I gave a thumbs up. Boss, open a brand, sign me up as VIP. That good? Truth. Taste. I scooped another, both his hands were full, so I lifted it to his mouth. Only after he bit did I realize how intimate that was. He chewed. Could be even better. No, it's cosmic level perfect. I switched to hype mode. Though an extra flavor would be insane. Adrian caught on, patient as ever. Name it. Next afternoon, in the client's conference room, I found strawberry marshmallow cubes waiting from Adrian. Taking gifts makes you soft. I'd accepted food 2 days straight and felt guilty. We sat 1 empty chair apart, too many colleagues around for chit-chat, so I texted, "Boss, coffee and sandwich okay for breakfast?" Reply, "Works." For the next 3 days, every time Adrian appeared he handed me a new flavor of cubes. I returned the favor with a different breakfast each morning. One morning at the deli, the owner and his wife were mid-shouting match. Eavesdropping, I learned hubby had siphoned payments through his personal QR to hide pocket money, caught red-handed on the security cam. He whimpered, "It was like $10, now you want 20 back? Have mercy." That night I told Adrian via WhatsApp. "Sam, no wonder today's noodles taste like tears, sad beef special." I snorted. "Boss, if I die laughing, is that work comp?" Got something better. He sent a photo. I cracked up again. Tender sat on the floor with a pomelo rind carved into bangs on her head and a goofy doggy grin, total meme. "Me, you carved that, boss?" Adrian, Tender brought it to me and insisted. Next pic, ginger kitten wearing a red towel hood, heart melting. 12. After that, Adrian and I messaged non-stop. Sometimes shop talk, sometimes food spots, random jokes. Default routine, 1 to 2 hours nightly. One night he sent a clip of Tender and the kitten cuddling. In mere days cat and dog were inseparable, napping butt to snout. Me, "Boss, you just got Tender a boyfriend." Adrian, rude, "Still single here." I fired back an amphibian bachelor sticker. Sam replied with a string of dots. While we chatted I was streaming a movie, so I shared the link. "I'm starting one, join if you want." Minutes later Adrian clicked in. We watched the whole thing apart but together. When credits rolled he texted, "Sky, are you single?" After that whole blind date disguise fiasco, I didn't dare pad my resume again. I answered honestly, single, as in, nobody riding the other seat. Within a second the doodle frog meme came boomeranging back at me. This time it was my turn to answer with a line of dots. Little by little, Adrian and I typed ourselves into familiarity. The scary part, I started looking forward to these chats. Even the dumbest sticker could make me grin like an idiot. I'm doomed, I messaged Jade. Girl, I think I'm haunted by something called a crush. Jade, spill. Who? My thumbs hovered over his name, but fear of a flash flood romance stopped me. I deleted, retyped, probably just a heat flash. Pretend I never spoke. Jade shot back a sobbing emoji. Don't tease a gossip-starved pup, feed me. While I wavered, Adrian pinged me. Need to stay at the client site 2 extra days. Tomorrow was supposed to be my last day on the business trip. A pang of loss hit. Back at Vale, would there be no more Snow Crisp cookies, no more midnight banter? Restless, I asked, Boss, once we're home, will the cookie supply continue? He replied, Monday morning, bring breakfast. 13. Monday, I arrived early, takeout bags swinging. We met in the elevator, traded breakfast like spies, then retreated to our floors. Eventually it became our tiny secret ritual. My courage grew. I started ordering desserts. Boss, can you make snow mochi? Next afternoon he handed me a mango-filled snow mochi. I tiptoed into the pantry to devour it, spoon lifted, when 2 admin girls walked in. Mr. Senior's in the building today, one said. Brought a gorgeous girl, future CEO for sure. Mr. Senior is Adrian's father. At the word Mrs. my head snapped up. Really? Is she pretty? Pageant queen pretty, and pedigreed. Lucky girl. After eavesdropping, the mango mochi tasted sour. I couldn't focus. I kept inventing excuses to revisit the pantry, the gossip hub. Within an hour I learned her surname, Ashford, Serena, a rising fashion designer. Word was Mr. Senior had booked an 8-top at Le Bernardin tonight for Serena, Adrian included. That evening Adrian didn't text. I stared at the silent icon, stomach nodding. Near midnight a message finally arrived. Won't be in tomorrow, skip the breakfast run. Habit is terrifying. I still bought 2 meals on autopilot. Only when the receipt popped did I remember his note. I lugged the extra bag back and bumped into Liam at the lobby. He carried a pink bento box so loud you could hear it blush. Liam, your girlfriend's handmade lunch? He waved both hands. I wish. Lady upstairs cooked it for the guy upstairs. For Adrian? Is he in? I asked. Liam nodded. In his office. My cheek twitched. Hadn't Adrian said he wasn't coming? Not in the mood to pry, I shoved 1 breakfast bag at Liam. BOGO at the deli, can't finish. Yours. I rode up alone, downed a cup of water in the pantry, but the bitterness stayed. That moment I saw my heart clearly. I cared about Adrian, it wasn't a passing fever. Yet he seemed to have stepped back, choosing Serena's pink box. Adults value face, co-workers have to coexist. Dignified retreat it is. I opened the chat. CEO, skip the Snow Crisp cookies tomorrow. Adrian? Me not in the mood. After sending, I tapped the settings icon. His nickname had been Cameron, I changed it to Adrian. 3 seconds later I edited again, do not contact ever. 14. Love makes you reckless, fear makes you add disclaimers. I converted heartbreak into horsepower and worked late. Starved, I grabbed instant noodles and headed to the pantry. Adrian was seated inside. Boss, why here? Burning midnight oil. Needed air. I paused, his penthouse office has a terrace garden. Yet here he was on the 28th floor? Whatever, he owns the place. I stepped in to fill my cup. As steam rose he said, my assistant told me you treated him to breakfast? I kept my eyes on the geyser. Yup, buy one get one. Funny, he said, walking over. Everything in that bag was exactly what I like. I hit the stop button and faced him. That bag was meant for you. Bought it that way. Then why didn't you give it to me? You already had 2 breakfasts. True, but the pink box? Liam accepted it on his own. I sent it back, Adrian said. I was scheduled to be out of town this morning, then the meeting canceled. Also, he paused. When you said you didn't want my cookies, it stung. Sky, let's be together. Be my girlfriend. If I say yes, will the cookie pipeline survive? He took my hand. Lifetime supply, lifetime sweetness. From then on my life ran on Snow Crisp cookies. First kiss, he whispered, my mouth tastes like cookies, want a sample? Wedding favors, boxes of cookies. The day our daughter arrived, Adrian nicknamed her Crispy. Decades later, teeth gone in cookies soft bread, the man who spent a lifetime baking them still walks me, step by slow step. 15 extra. After we went public, Adrian kept dropping by the 28th floor pantry. He claimed it was sacred ground, required repeat pilgrimages. Drives me nuts, our spot is next to a microwave. His frequent appearances soon piqued the design cubicles. The girl beside me asked, "What's up with the boss? Thirsty for our tap water?" I fake laughed. Maybe the cooler on 28 tastes better? Nah, he's glowing and dressed like a peacock. Man's in love. Way too accurate, I sweated. Is that so? Obviously. Just then my phone buzzed. Sky, pantry, missing you. It's office hours, mister. But I've got 3 new cookie flavors, come taste. Food bribe? Seriously? 5 minutes later I was inside that pantry. Another 5 and I was back, lips swollen, bun crooked. My colleague stared. Alice, were you mugged? Your mouth looks fire alarm red. Blame the culprit, I lied, hot chicken noodles, extra spice. The cover dissolved soon enough. One afternoon the elevator stalled, trapping me with a claustrophobic intern. I'd only read about the condition until she collapsed, drenched in cold sweat and gasping. I soothed her while hitting the emergency button. Somehow the story reached Adrian, morphed into me having claustrophobia. When the doors finally pried open, he shot inside and hugged me, lightning fast, in front of a widening crowd. My colleagues never let it die, so the pantry isn't magic, Alice is.